Picture this. You're standing in line at Walmart watching a middle-aged woman in a faded blue vest scan your groceries with tired eyes. Her name tag reads, Janet. She's been here for 12 years, and everything about her screams minimum wage. Struggle. Worn shoes held together with duct tape. Discount store jewelry that's turning green. The kind of exhausted smile that comes from working double shifts just to pay rent on time. Her hands move mechanically across barcodes, scanning item after item with the zombie-like precision of someone who's done this exact motion millions of times. You'd never look twice, right? You'd probably feel sorry for her, maybe even judge her life choices, or wonder what decisions led her to this point. Well, my name is Ryan Thompson, and I made that exact mistake until I discovered something so impossible, so mind-blowing about Janet, that it completely shattered everything I thought I knew about wealth in America. What if I told you that this seemingly ordinary Walmart cashier, who clips coupons religiously and drives a 15-year-old Honda Civic with a missing hubcap, secretly owns over $5 million in commercial real estate spread across 3 different states? What if I revealed that while you're judging her by her uniform and tired appearance, while you're assuming she's struggling to make ends meet, she's actually collecting more rental income every single month than most corporate executives make in an entire year? What if I showed you that the most extraordinary wealth story I've ever uncovered in 15 years of real estate investigation was hiding behind a simple blue vest in the checkout lane of your local Walmart? This isn't some internet fairy tale or motivational nonsense designed to sell you courses or fool you with fake success stories. This is a real investigation that left me absolutely speechless when I discovered the truth. Janet doesn't just work at Walmart for survival. She's built a multi-million-dollar empire that would make most real estate investors weep with envy and question everything they know about building wealth. Her story proves that the biggest fortunes in America are walking among us every single day, disguised as ordinary people living ordinary lives, shopping in ordinary stores, working ordinary jobs that everyone assumes define their limitations. The signs were there all along, subtle clues that nobody bothered to look for because we're all trained to judge people by their appearance and circumstances. You see, I spend my life hunting down impossible real estate stories, investigating claims that sound too good to be true. And Janet's discovery changed everything I believed about hidden wealth in this country. When I finally pieced together her incredible secret after weeks of investigation, I realized that extraordinary opportunities are literally everywhere around us, hiding in plain sight, waiting for someone curious enough to look beyond the surface and investigate what's really happening beneath the facade of ordinary life. Fascinated? Keep watching, because the shocking truth about hidden wealth is about to blow your mind. It all started 3 months ago, when I was researching commercial properties in suburban Detroit for a high-net-worth client who wanted to diversify his portfolio into recession-proof assets. I'm always looking for undervalued commercial real estate, hidden gems that other investors overlook because they're too focused on flashy deals in trendy neighborhoods. That's when I stumbled across something strange in the Wayne County property records that immediately caught my attention. A strip mall worth over $2 million, generating substantial rental income, was owned by someone named J. Martinez. Nothing unusual there at first glance, except this particular J. Martinez had listed their occupation as retail worker and their annual income as $28,000. Now, I've been in real estate for 15 years, and those numbers don't add up under any scenario I've ever encountered. How does someone making minimum wage afford a $2 million commercial property? How do they qualify for financing? How do they manage tenants and property maintenance? My curiosity was instantly triggered. Either this was a massive mistake in the public records, or I'd stumbled onto something extraordinary that defied conventional wisdom about wealth building and real estate investing. So I did what I always do when things don't make sense in property records. I started digging deeper. The more I researched, the more fascinating the mystery became. The property records showed that J. Martinez had purchased this strip mall 5 years ago, completely renovated it from top to bottom, and was now collecting over $12,000 monthly in rental income from 5 different tenants. But here's where it gets even more interesting and confusing. This wasn't their only property. The deeper I dug into cross-reference databases, the more properties I found connected to this mysterious J. Martinez. Another strip mall across town, purchased 3 years ago. A small office complex that housed a medical practice and 2 professional service companies. Even a warehouse on the outskirts of Detroit that housed 3 different manufacturing businesses. Each property was generating substantial monthly cash flow. Each was well maintained and fully occupied. And each was owned by someone who officially earned less than $30,000 per year. I had to meet this mysterious J. Martinez. The address on file led me to a modest apartment complex in a working-class neighborhood called Lincoln Park. Nothing fancy, nothing that screamed wealth or success. 2-story brick buildings with small parking lots, the kind of place where hard-working people live paycheck to paycheck. When I knocked on apartment 2B, nobody answered. But a neighbor who was taking out trash mentioned that J. Martinez worked at the local Walmart and usually got home around 6 in the evening after working the day shift. That's how I found myself standing in line at Walmart on a Tuesday evening, watching a tired-looking cashier scan items with mechanical precision while making small talk with customers. Her name tag read Janet Martinez. Could this really be the same person who owned millions in commercial real estate? She looked exhausted, moved slowly like someone whose feet hurt from standing all day, and everything about her appearance suggested financial struggle. Faded uniform, worn shoes, the kind of tired posture that comes from years of physical labor. But something in my gut, some instinct developed from years of investigating unusual real estate deals, told me I'd found my mysterious property owner. I bought a pack of gum just to have an excuse to interact with her. Small talk revealed she'd been working at Walmart for over a decade, had raised 3 kids as a single mother, and seemed like exactly what you'd expect from someone earning minimum wage in America. But there was something in her eyes, a sharpness. That didn't match the tired exterior, an intelligence that seemed almost out of place behind that checkout counter. And when I casually mentioned that I was in real estate, her entire demeanor shifted for just a split second. It was subtle, but I've learned to watch for those micro-expressions that reveal when someone knows more than they're letting on. That tiny reaction was all I needed. I knew I'd found her. The next day, I returned with a simple business proposal. I told Janet I was interested in purchasing commercial properties in the Detroit area and asked if she knew of any opportunities or could provide local insights. Her response changed everything and confirmed my suspicions. Instead of the confused look I expected from a minimum wage worker, Janet smiled knowingly and said 6 words that made my jaw drop. "How much are you looking to spend? Mind blown already? Hit that subscribe button immediately because Ryan's discoveries only get more incredible from here." Janet invited me to coffee the next morning before her shift, and what she revealed in that conversation completely demolished every assumption I'd made about wealth, success, and financial intelligence in America. Sitting across from me in her Walmart uniform, sipping coffee from a thermos she'd brought from home to save money, Janet calmly explained how she'd built a $5 million real estate empire while earning minimum wage and maintaining the appearance of someone struggling financially. Her incredible story began 12 years ago, when she started working at Walmart after a devastating divorce that left her with 3 young children, no college education, massive debt, and absolutely no financial safety net. She was living paycheck to paycheck, sometimes choosing between groceries and gas money, sometimes borrowing from friends just to keep the electricity on. But Janet had something most people in her situation lack: an obsession with learning and an unshakable belief that her circumstances were temporary, not permanent. During her 15-minute breaks at Walmart, while other employees scrolled through social media or complained about their lives, Janet was reading real estate books she'd checked out from the library. She consumed everything she could find about property investing, creative financing, and wealth building. She read Rich Dad, Poor Dad 17 times until she memorized every principle. She studied every real estate biography she could find, learning how ordinary people had built extraordinary wealth through property ownership. That's when Janet discovered Robert Kiyosaki's foundational principles about assets versus liabilities, and realized that her biggest problem wasn't her low income, it was her complete lack of assets generating passive income. Everyone around her was focused on earning more money per hour, but Janet understood that wealthy people don't work for money. They make money work for them around the clock. She needed to find a way to acquire income-producing assets, even with zero capital and terrible credit. Janet spent months studying creative real estate strategies before she discovered something most people never consider: seller financing and owner-carry deals. She learned that many commercial property owners, especially older ones nearing retirement, were more interested in receiving steady monthly payments than getting large lump sums of cash. These sellers wanted reliable income streams to fund their retirement, not necessarily cash buyers who could close quickly. Her first deal was a small strip mall that had been on the market for 8 months without any serious offers. The 70-year-old owner was tired of managing tenants, dealing with maintenance issues, and handling the day-to-day responsibilities of property ownership. He just wanted consistent monthly income for his retirement without the headaches. The property was worth $400,000, but he was willing to carry the financing himself if he found the right buyer. Janet offered to buy it with zero money down, agreeing to pay him $2,500 monthly for 15 years with a balloon payment at the end. She had no money for a down payment, but she had something more valuable: a solid employment history at Walmart that proved she could make consistent monthly payments. Here's the brilliant part that most investors never discover. The strip mall was already generating $3,200 monthly in rental income from existing tenants. From day one, Janet was collecting $700 in positive cash flow every month after paying the seller. She used that extra income to improve the property, update the facade, fix maintenance issues, and create value that allowed her to raise rents. Within 6 months, the monthly cash flow had increased to over $1,200. But Janet didn't stop there, because she understood that one property was just the beginning of building real wealth. She used the cash flow from her first strip mall to establish credibility and approach other sellers with similar deals. Her strategy was brilliant in its simplicity: find older property owners who wanted steady income, offer them seller financing deals, and use the positive cash flow to acquire more properties. Within 2 years, she owned 3 commercial properties, all acquired with creative financing and zero down payments. Her monthly cash flow had grown to over $4,000, which was more than she earned at Walmart. But here's what separated Janet from typical real estate investors: she never quit her job at Walmart. She understood that her minimum wage income provided crucial stability and credibility with sellers who were nervous about carrying financing. When property owners met Janet and saw that she had steady employment, their consistent work history, and the discipline to show up every day, they felt comfortable trusting her with seller financing deals. Her Walmart job became the foundation that allowed her to build wealth, not the limitation that prevented it. She was earning more from real estate than from her job, but the job gave her the credibility to acquire more real estate. Janet showed me her current portfolio on her phone right there in the coffee shop, and the numbers were staggering. 5 commercial properties across 3 states, total value over $5 million, generating more than $15,000 monthly in passive income, all while still working her 40-hour-a-week job at Walmart, all while maintaining the carefully crafted appearance of someone struggling financially. She explained her philosophy with a smile. People see what they expect to see. When they look at a Walmart cashier, they see limitation, poverty, someone who made bad choices. But limitation is just perspective. Every single day, I interact with hundreds of customers who have no idea they're being served by someone who earns more in rental income than they make at their corporate jobs with fancy titles and expensive suits. Janet had discovered what wealthy people understand, but never share publicly. The most powerful wealth-building strategies don't require high income. They require high intelligence, creative thinking, and most importantly, the discipline to take action when others are making excuses. She'd used seller financing, lease options, partnership deals, and creative structuring to acquire millions in assets, while everyone around her focused on earning a few extra dollars per hour through overtime and promotions. The property records I'd found were just the tip of the iceberg. Janet also owned shares in several other properties through partnership deals with other investors. had multiple streams of passive income, including a small apartment building she'd acquired through a lease option, and was planning to retire from Walmart within the next 2 years. Not because she had to, but because she wanted to focus on expanding her empire into new markets. What makes Janet's story even more remarkable is the psychological discipline required to maintain her cover. Every day, she watches customers make assumptions about her life, her intelligence, her financial situation. She serves people who spend more on a single shopping trip than she officially earns in a week, yet she's building wealth faster than most of them ever will. She's learned to use their assumptions as camouflage, letting their prejudices work in her favor. Sitting in that coffee shop, watching this unassuming Walmart employee explain sophisticated real estate strategies while customers walked past assuming she was just another minimum wage worker taking a break, I realized I was witnessing something extraordinary. Janet had achieved true financial freedom while maintaining complete invisibility. Her greatest asset wasn't her properties, it was the fact that nobody suspected she owned them. Reality completely shattered. Demolish that like button and stay. Locked in because the most incredible part is still coming. The shocking truth about Janet's wealth strategy goes far deeper than anyone could imagine, and when I asked her to show me actual proof of her claims, she didn't hesitate for a second. We drove directly to her first strip mall, the property that started her entire empire, and walking through that building with Janet was like getting a masterclass in hidden wealth psychology. She introduced me to her tenants as the property owner, and their reactions were absolutely priceless. These business owners, who had been paying Janet thousands of dollars in rent every month for years, had no idea that the woman collecting their money also worked the day shift at Walmart. To them, she was simply their professional landlord, a successful real estate investor who owned multiple properties throughout the metro Detroit area. Janet pulled out her phone and showed me her banking apps without any hesitation. The numbers were undeniable and overwhelming. Monthly rental deposits totaling over $15,000 flowing into her business accounts. Property management accounts with hundreds of thousands in cash reserves for maintenance and improvements. Investment accounts growing steadily from her excess cash flow. All of this wealth was hidden behind a carefully maintained appearance of financial struggle. But here's what completely blew my mind. Janet's deception wasn't accidental. It was entirely strategic. She had deliberately chosen to maintain her minimum wage lifestyle because invisibility was her secret superpower in real estate negotiations. When potential sellers met with her to discuss deals, they saw exactly what she wanted them to see: a hardworking, honest person they could trust with their most valuable asset. Janet explained that wealthy-looking investors often struggle to get seller financing because property owners automatically assume they have plenty of cash and should pay full price up front. But when sellers met Janet in her Walmart uniform, driving her old Honda, they immediately felt comfortable offering creative financing terms that they would never consider for someone who appeared wealthy. Her appearance was actually her greatest negotiating advantage in an industry where perception shapes every deal. Sellers trusted her because she looked like someone who needed the opportunity, someone who would take care of their property because she couldn't afford to lose it. They never suspected that she had more real estate experience than most professional investors. The bank records and legal documents confirmed everything she'd told me. Property after property acquired with little to no money down. Seller financing, agreements that most investors could never obtain. Partnership deals where her contribution was sweat equity rather than cash. Janet had cracked the psychological code that most real estate investors never discover. Relationships matter more than money when you're building wealth through creative financing. Even more shocking was Janet's future planning. She showed me her retirement calculation spreadsheet. At age 52, working a minimum wage job that everyone assumed defined her financial limitations, Janet was already completely financially independent. Her properties would be fully paid off within 10 years, at which point her monthly passive income would exceed $8,000 with zero debt obligations. She could retire tomorrow if she wanted to and live comfortably for the rest of her life. But she was staying at Walmart for exactly 2 more years to acquire 3 additional properties that would bring her passive income to over $12,000 monthly. The verification process was overwhelming. Property deeds with her name clearly listed as owner, rental agreements signed by tenants, bank statements showing consistent cash flow deposits, insurance policies on millions of dollars in commercial real estate. Janet Martinez, Walmart cashier, was legitimately a multi-millionaire real estate investor hiding in plain sight. Perhaps the most incredible revelation was discovering how many other people like Janet exist. During our conversation, she mentioned 3 other Walmart employees who had learned her strategies and started building their own property portfolios. A maintenance worker who owned 2 duplexes, a stocker who had partnered on a small apartment building, a customer service representative who was closing on her first commercial property next month. Janet had inadvertently created an underground network of minimum wage millionaires, all hiding their wealth behind ordinary jobs and modest appearances. They meet monthly for coffee, share deal opportunities, and support each other's growth, all while maintaining their cover as struggling retail workers. The psychological impact was profound. Here I was, a supposed real estate expert who had spent years helping wealthy clients buy expensive properties, getting schooled by a Walmart cashier who had built more sustainable wealth than most of my clients ever would. Janet had achieved what every investor dreams of: true passive income that exceeded her living expenses, complete financial freedom, and the choice to work based purely on personal preference. And now the most eye-opening, reality-changing lesson that will transform how you see wealth forever is what I'm about to share. Janet's story taught me the most powerful lesson about wealth that I've ever learned in 15 years of real estate: investing. Extraordinary success never looks like what you expect, and the biggest fortunes are built by people who blend into the background, who understand that invisibility is an asset, and who focus on acquiring income-producing properties rather than displaying expensive lifestyles that impress others but drain cash flow. Next week, I'm revealing another impossible discovery that will blow your mind even further and prove that wealth opportunities are literally everywhere. I found a pizza delivery driver in Phoenix who secretly owns a 20-unit apartment complex and collects more rent in 1 month than most people make in 6 months. His story involves cryptocurrency profits, seller financing, and a strategy so simple that anyone can copy it. This discovery proves that wealth opportunities are literally everywhere, hiding behind ordinary jobs and modest appearances. If Janet's incredible story amazed you and opened your eyes to the possibilities that surround us every day, make sure you subscribe to this channel right now, because I'm constantly uncovering these hidden wealth stories that prove anyone can build extraordinary success, regardless of their starting point or current income level. Hit that notification bell so you never miss these mind-blowing discoveries that challenge everything you think you know about money and success. Smash that like button if you're inspired by Janet's journey from struggling single mother to millionaire real estate investor. Share this video with anyone who's ever felt limited by their current income or convinced that wealth building requires huge amounts of startup capital or perfect credit scores. Janet's story proves that the most powerful wealth strategies don't require high income. They require high commitment to learning and taking action when others are making excuses. Comment below and tell me about any hidden wealth stories you've discovered in your own community, because I guarantee they exist everywhere if you know what to look for. Your support means everything to me as I continue investigating these incredible stories that prove ordinary people are achieving extraordinary success every single day. These discoveries don't happen by accident. They require time, research, and dedication to finding the truth behind appearances. Janet's story changed my entire perspective on wealth building and proved that the most successful investors are often the ones you'd never suspect. Her journey from struggling single mother to multimillionaire property owner happened while she worked a minimum wage job that everyone assumed defined her financial limitations. Remember, $1 million real estate opportunities surround you every day. Open your eyes.